Jacob does have two sisters. I can definitely talk more about Jacob's family because I think it's really unfortunate and frustrating how much Jacob's life and his circumstances are just glossed over, proven irrelevant as long as it serves Edward and Bella's story. This is true of the pack and the tribe in general, and in general it's always some kind of suffering, so it's just super disrespectful and unfortunate. But Jacob is the youngest. He has two older sisters, Rachel and Rebecca. They're twins and they're 4 years older than him. Rebecca Black, Friday, we don't ever meet. She married a Samoan surfer right out of high school. She lives in Hawaii with him. Rachel is in college. When she comes home to visit, Paul imprints on her, and then she decides she's gonna stay in La Push, which is its own can of worms. Paul was 16 at the time. When the twins were 13 and Jacob was 9, their mother, Sarah, died in a car accident. And Stephenie Meyer writes in the guide that it wasn't as hard on Jacob because he was young and his sisters helped raise him, which is so annoying to me because he was 9. It's not like he was an infant, and his sisters were 13 at the time, so also children. I also lost my mother suddenly like that, and that's horrible at any age. It's really horrible when you're young, like 9. It was clearly just as hard for him. And also the reason Rachel and Rebecca leave as soon as they can is because it was so hard on them, which is very common, but undeniably really unfortunate and sad for Jacob, because when his sisters left, that was only like 5 years later, and he was like 13, 14, and then Jacob was alone with just his dad. And Jacob also takes care of Billy. Actually, he was always the one who took care of Billy the most. So Billy started to lose mobility in his legs due to complications from diabetes. And we know verbatim from the books and the guide that Jacob was never resentful and that he happily became Billy's legs because he loved him so much and loved spending time with him. And this is like before the werewolf stuff and everything like properly ruins his life. And that's the thing, it's always like Bella was going through it. Like, yes, but also Jacob is right there, and it's not a coincidence that people will deep dive and analyze Bella and Edward to sympathize with them and not Jacob. There's a reason, and I do think that's one of the many things that connect Jacob and Bella, and like why their closeness makes so much sense and how they express love. I could write a dissertation on that. I think it's very interesting and sweet, actually, and I think this just makes Jacob's ending like even more of a tragedy. Like in the beginning of his POV in Breaking Dawn, he's thinking about Bella's impending death, and then he starts thinking about his mother. Like, of course he does. And then he watches Bella die gruesomely in front of him, and the way it's resolved, an eternity of involuntary servitude, like his life just didn't matter.